Hello everyone, welcome back. You can see I've got the Good Life collection on my desk yet again. I just can't get enough of it, but I have a collection of photos that are going to work so well, and I'm excited to use this paper for these pictures. So these are taken on different days, but they're all around the house and they all have the same theme. So I thought it would be great to tell a story because they're just random snapshots, but together they paint a picture. So this is my son and my husband's mare, Mabel, and then my husband with a couple of the pigs we raised. We have pigs and steers every year, so I just like this particular picture of him. And then there's a snapshot of myself washing my horse Lola, and then some steers that we brought home early this year, and then there's a smaller supporting photo of those piggies. Now the colors are perfect. You can see we've got the blues and the browns and the whole farmhouse feel. I also have this stamp set called Locally Grown. Is that not perfect? We've got the pig and the horse on there. There's a little cow. We have chickens too. No chickens in the picture, but again, it's about just telling a story. So I'm definitely going to use this. On the coordinating sticker sheet, there's this title element that says Heart and Home. And this is kind of what made me pull these pictures. I think it's going to work really well. And there's also farm to table. So just kind of perfect, right? So let me clear these out of the way and we can grab the VersaMats and get started. This is a double page layout. So I've got both of my VersaMats here. And then I am going to use White Daisy as my base to build up all of my paper layers. So I really have no idea the direction I'm going with this layout. I just printed my photos, making the focal photos that I really like larger, and then the, some of the animal photos and whatnot smaller. So, how I decide is sometimes I'll look at these two photos. Clayton's facing in, so I'll put that one on that side, and my husband Mike's facing this way. I did pull in this photo. I printed it, but I'm not 100% sure I'm going to use it. The colors are really different from the colors in all the other photos, but I like it and it goes along with the theme, so we'll see about that one. So there's so many different ways that you can, work these photos. I like to work with 4x4s, and then these aren't quite 4x6s. They're 4 by 5.5 basically, and that's just because of the orientation the iPhone takes them in. So we could do something like this, and then I don't know if I really want the pig photo over here with Clayton. Maybe we will bring this one in. So there's something, you could do something like that, or even create like a line and then have some photos like that. Maybe even bring the little pigs in. Or we could go and create like a line like this. Maybe put this one here so it's the same elevation as these, and then bring the little piggies in here. Maybe we'll start with that and see if we can work that into a design. I know I want to use this paper that looks like corrugated tin. I went ahead and cut it in half, so we have two 6x12 pieces. And one thing you can do very easily when you're creating a double page layout is run your paper like that. Just cut it down the center, have half and half, and you can kind of build your paper layers out. And that always works, or not always, but usually works very well. So we could do something like that, but we could also run it this way and use the papers as a linear setting for all of our photos. So many different options. Sometimes you just have to go with it. I do like that option better. I have a couple other photo or papers I want to possibly bring in. So I was thinking maybe doing the same thing. Now we cut it in, 6 inches in half and then run it the opposite direction and see what that looks like. Do you guys go through this process when you're deciding, where you just kind of try different things and see what it looks like? Obviously those will go out to the 6, because if I cut it in half and then bump it to the 0, it'll be a little further over. But we could do something like that. I'm not sure if I like the brown paper though. Let me switch it out with this one. I'm going to pause the camera just so you don't have to watch me redoing each one. So here is the same idea with the wood grain background, and I don't like that as much as the dark mocha with the polka dots. So I can roll that one out. I also have the mix-in papers that work really well with this collection. So on one side you have a wood grain that's darker, and then you have this little pattern in, I believe, toffee. That might be toffee on the opposite side. So we could theoretically use this one. It's not quite big enough, but here, I'm gonna pause it and move this. Okay, I think this is our winner. I really like this color with the photos. I feel like the Mocha background was just a little bit too dominating. I like this more subtle, lighter pattern paper better. I also have these 12 by, let's see, they are 3/4 inch by 12 inch stickers from the coordinating sticker sheet. And I thought that might add a little bit of visual weight to the bottom and bring in some of that mist and harbor color, which really complements the blues in the photo. Now I did remove this stick from these, so they're not quite as sticky as they are when they come right off the sheet. And that's because I'm a chicken. I like to try everything before I commit. And these are pretty sticky right off the sticker sheet and not always easy to get up. So I just use my anti-static powder tool to take a little bit of the stick off of that so I can reposition them if I want to. I mentioned earlier it was a goal to use this sticker for my title, and I was looking on Instagram and fellow maker Chris Lothian shared an idea that she created with this layout, and I really liked it. So I'm going to kind of mimic her title configuration. So she used this and this memories word from the these are the acrylic and die cut shape embellishments. So you can see they have flowers and all of those fun shapes, but they also have titles. So you can get them in these faux wood grain, like it's paperboard. So it's a little bit sturdier than cardstock, but not quite as thick as chipboard. And they come in these sheets and you can pop them out. So you can get them in all these different colors. I got quite a few of the wood grain and black because I'm going to use them quite a bit. But yeah, memories, happy life, the best life, days, and sweet every, so you can mix and match. You could say the best memories, the best life, the best days, so many different ways to use those. But I pulled off the word memories, and the way Chris used them is she kind of combined these title elements. So, and I'm going to possibly darken these. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm just going to put them down and see how it looks with my layout. It looked fabulous on hers, but her paper layers and choices were a little bit different. So let's see if we can make that idea work for us. Memories. And I love that these are just universal words that will work so well for many, many different themes. Okay, so overlap. Now I'm covering a little bit too much of my photo, but I want the word sitting on that pattern paper. So I need to find a way to bump it up a little bit. Let me go look at my papers. Maybe this zip strip will do the trick. It actually brings the same mist and harbor color up from the bottom. The zip strip is a branding strip that comes off of the pattern papers, and they're great to use as accents on your layouts. So that'll give us another 1/2 inch of clearance, so we can still kind of get that look without covering so much of the photos. So she had it like this, and I do like that. And there was one more element, this little sticker from the sticker sheet, Made with Love. So memories, made with love, heart, and home. I'm liking it. That is looking good. Thank you, Chris, for this fabulous idea. I grabbed another zip strip to continue that over. This one's shorter, so I'm gonna have to get creative there. I'll probably just cut out the portion behind the photo. And then I have these paperboard shapes that come along with the Good Life collection. And I do want to mention, Chris does not have a YouTube channel, but she does have a fabulous Instagram page. So I will leave that listed in the description box below. So I want to use these elements. You have this barn, and I am going to darken this. It's an overlay that goes on the background. So if we use some Mocha ink to darken that, the contrast will really help that stand out. We have these cute little fences, and then this windmill here that I think will look really nice in this area over here. Rather than run these all the way to the edge, I think I'm going to bring them in just a little bit, so we kind of have white all the way around. So I'm going to go do that. Okay, you can see I brought those in, and these I still need to cut. I dovetailed the ends, but I'm not sure how far I want those, so I'm going to wait. But I figured for now, let's go ahead and work on our embellishments. I know that I want to darken these. I'm going to add Mocha ink to all of my paperboard shapes here, and that way, let me scoot them all around. I don't want to lose any of my letters. That way they'll stand out better. So I'm going to set this aside. Anytime I am getting messy, I like to bring in my all-purpose mat. We're going to use Mocha ink here, and then I have my little sponge dauber tool to darken those shapes. Now I'm not doing all of these. I just want the front layer of the barn, and then the windmill, and then the letters. I don't know about the fence yet. We'll hold off on the fence and come back to that if we decide to make that a darker shade. I am also going to create a few more embellishments. I have both my horse and my cow in my Misty. We're going to put some white daisy cardstock right here in the corner, and that is my locally grown stamp set here. I'm just going to do, I don't know if I'll add the peg. We're going to do these two for now. I decided to use my Misty because I can stamp them both at once, and these are large detailed images. I'm using Mocha ink. I'm not going to color these. I think they would look really great if you stamped them in intense black ink and then used a marker to add some color, but I think this is a fun look also. I'm going to ink those up a little bit more and do that a second time. I see there's a few areas that didn't quite take the color perfectly. So let me use my little tool, work smarter, not harder. And then I have the coordinating dies for this set, so I will get those die cut off camera. To darken these, I am going to use my sponge dauber tool, and I'm almost using more of like a pounce-like motion, just kind of pouncing on top, and then you just keep adding color until you get the desired depth that you are going for. But you could really do this in any color. You could do like a red and white barn, or all sorts of different things to make it match your layout. But I do want to bring in the dark mocha color for my accents, but doesn't that look good? That really makes it pop. So for the windmill, I'm going to do the same, but I want this to not be solid. So I'm doing the outside edges of the windmill blades, and then I'm going to leave more a little distressed look. So we'll have some of the lighter areas and some of the darker areas. I have so many photos and random snapshots that would work for a layout like this. So in order to make it easier for me to narrow it down, I kind of made it more focused on the livestock and then selected pictures with, us, my family members in the photos with the livestock. That took it down from like 50 photos down to, 8, and then I picked my favorites. So something like that may be helpful if you're trying to decide which photos that you want to include on the layout. And then, of course, choosing photos for color that complement each other as well, because as I mentioned earlier, these were all taken at very different times of the year throughout the year, but the colors worked very well together. So that was another, kind of a factor when deciding which photos I wanted to include. We have all of our little bits and pieces that I have inked up in Mocha, and we'll go ahead and put these back up top, and you can already see that is popping a lot better. And especially when we overlap this pattern paper, there's a greater contrast. That really does look good. I didn't really like Mocha as a background paper, but it works great for the accents. So here's my little horse and my cow. And you know what I was thinking? I've got this scrap of paper left over, and I loved it, but it has kind of this distressed pattern. It's subtle, but that's all I have. So let's make our own. I've got some mist cardstock, and I think I want to use the darker side, and I am going to add some stamping to give this a pattern. So I'm doing tone on tone. I've got mist and the new Design Elements stamp. I love this. It's kind of a background texture stamp. We're going to use this crackly type stamp and just go right across the pattern paper, or the cardstock. We're going to turn the cardstock into pattern paper. I think I want this second generation. So I'm stamping it off, and you know what? It barely shows up. I don't like that. Let's go first generation and stamp it directly, and that is looking much better. So what I'm going to do is actually turn my stamp upside down so the pattern is not so matchy-matchy. This is going to give it some variation and help it to look more natural just by moving my stamp, flipping it upside down. I do want to add some Mocha ink to the edge. And now we have our own distressed little pattern paper. I love that pattern paper that came with the workshop, but I used it all up. So this is the next best thing. And through the magic of filmmaking, I created a second strip for the opposite side. I just wanted to bring more of that mist color in. It has kind of the blues, and I really think it complements the photo. So we need to make room for that strip of pattern paper we created. So I'm going to bump all of these up and then bring this in. Actually, let's put a little dovetail in the end of this to match our little plaid strip we have. I cut up from the center and then each corner, and then I did already ink the edge, so I'm going to have to add a little Mocha ink to that as well. I think that's looking good. It definitely needed more of that mist color, and I love that pattern. It's kind of funny. I've seen 3 of my crafty friends use this exact same background and texture stamp. Jamie used it to represent kind of dry, cracked mud. Katie used it on a winter frozen layout for like an icy, cracked ice look, and it was really fun. And then Amy used it to create a background layout on a fabulous kind of country layout like this. In fact, I'm going to leave Amy's video in the description box below. It was really cool, and if you like this, I think you're definitely going to love her layout as well. I've been on a total roll with my crocodile lately. I am using a few eyelets to finish off this tag. It has some holes in there, or the title element. It's so funny. We use things, at least this is me. I'll use something over and over and over again, and then I kind of put it away and forget about it. And then I rediscover it and love it all over again. It's so much fun. For this little section of the title, I'm going to add some foam tape so we can pop that up and give it a little dimension over those other pieces. As I'm looking at this layout, I feel like that photo does blend well. It's taken at sunset, the one where my husband is putting shoes on his horse. It was taken at sunset, so it has a very warm glow to it, kind of that warm color, but it's blending in beautifully. I'm glad I decided to use it. We still have our cute little horse and cow and fence. So what I'm going to do is create an embellishment cluster down here with these elements. And we want that fence to look continuous. So I'm going to strategically hide the break in those 2 pieces behind the horse's front leg. This idea was also from Chris Lothian. She arranged hers down in a similar manner. I also have the farm to table sticker and this little milk can. You know what? This little photo of the pigs, it just kind of feels out of place right there. I think I'm going to add it behind this one in a flip flap, and that's going to give me room for my journaling also. So let's create a little embellishment cluster here. This longer sticker says homegrown happiness, and that actually works well up top. Now I have a tag I cut from toffee paper, and I put a similar or the same bronze eyelet in there. I thought maybe I could pop this up here and then layer that sentiment over the top of it. I do like that. That does work, but let's try it down here also. I like to use elements like this to kind of ground my smaller embellishment stickers. So we can just slide this up. Now the milk can has to go behind my steer photo because that's going to open up in a flip flap. I ended up pausing the camera and making a few changes. That little tag went back up top, and you can see on the lower left, I added a little splatter stamping. Let me just give you a close-up of how everything came together. And there's more splatter stamping on the bottom and top. And then I added that little banner and then a little bracket over the sentiment up top there. So this is going to go in a flip flap. I added my journaling to the inside, so that'll flip up. And then for the pigs, I decorated the inside. I put a little fence element and just made that cute. So when you open it up, you can read the story and see more decorative elements. If you are a fan of double page layouts, click this playlist right here, full of double page inspiration only. Everything I use can be found in the description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye.